thing? I said, give me just let me park it a little bit.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join Councilman Taylor in the salute to our flag.
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for our prayer.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as the people of Guthrie and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions that might affect the government leaders, city staff, the businesses, and citizens of Guthrie, Oklahoma. Continue to remind us that all we do here today, all that we accomplish is for the pursuit of truth, doing the right things for the greater glory of you, and to make Guthrie, Oklahoma better. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Okay, call to order our Guthrie Public Works Authority meeting of July 5th. Second item on our agenda is public comments, community announcements, recognitions. Do we have anything? Kim, I have one that I'd like to present to the council. This is a letter of appreciation that I'd like to read and present. In our town, there are a number of unsung heroes who do very special things for our community and for the citizens who live here. These unsung heroes do not seek glory and notoriety. They go about doing their special works because they want to help others. They want to make our community look good, and they want to make a difference. This letter of appreciation is to recognize Amy Hurley for being an unsung hero in Guthrie, Oklahoma. And I'd like Amy, if you would come forward, please. Joe. I will go on with this letter of appreciation. Amy provides consistent, customer-friendly, professional service at One Stop Copy Shop. She works miracles, often working with short deadlines, complicated formats, and anxious customers. I have been one of those anxious customers. She produces a quality product in a timely manner that makes her customers smile. But behind the scenes efforts that we would like to recognize today are the constant efforts that Amy provides in keeping Guthrie, America looking good. She has spent significant time planting special herbs and spices, flowers and plants at the apothecary gardens right across the street, which provide a wonderful educational as well as visually appealing experience to citizens and visitors to this unique garden in our unique community. And when these gardens were recently challenged by vandalism and abuse, she quickly, but quietly, responded to the challenge by repairing, replanting, and restoring the plants that were impacted. Amy also has a part of the Green Thumb team that voluntarily takes care of the entryway to Mineral Wells Park. And I understand that your Green Thumb also has transformed the perimeter around the city parking lot.
Yeah, that needs a little work.
But it sure is looking better. It sure is looking better.
I'd also like to add that my mom, Debbie, is the main caretaker of the beds at Mineral Wells.
Okay, she's the head of the Green Thumb team?
Almost everything in those flower beds.
Okay, well, I'm not finished yet. Planting, mulching, weeding, watering, replacing, and restoring, all to help our community look the very best that it possibly can. For these efforts, we, the community, and the City Council, want to say thank you. Thank you for what you do on the job, but especially thank you for what you do off the job. Amy Hurley, you make a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Oh, wait.
Chris came a little late to the party.
Item number 3 on our agenda is consent agenda. Item A, which is the approval of the minutes of the June 21st, 2022 Public Works Authority meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Submit your votes. Let's see the votes. Unanimous approval from all those present to approve the consent agenda, item A. Item number 4, continuation of the special city council meeting workshop discussing the fiscal year 2023 general funds. Previously, we have identified that our city manager, Leroy, and their professional staff here will continue to massage the budget and come back and present to the city council, first city council meeting in August, with a balanced budget proposal. Item number 5, discussion and possible action to approve resolution number 2022-22, adopting the revised fiscal year 2023 non-bargaining employee pay plan pursuant to section 70, pay plan and pay of the city council, City of Guthrie personnel policy. Leroy, are you handling that?
I am.
Okay.
This resolution will update the pay plan from FY22 budget to the FY23 to allow us to implement the 2% across the board cost of living increase for our employees. And that's the same cost of living that is in the contracts for FOP and the international firefighters for this year. Remember last year we did something pretty substantial, and this year it's 2%. There are 3 positions that we're proposing to reclassify in the pay plan. One, our economic developer, who came to us straight from college, and so we started her on the low end of the spectrum. And now that she's got several years of experience and she's getting ready to take her certification test, we felt it warranted to bump her from range E to range F so that we have some growth potential in her salary to remain competitive as she continues to develop. Our chief accounting purchasing agent is a difficult position to classify. They serve as purchasing agent, manage our utilities, phones, internet, and copiers for all facilities, processes biweekly payroll, does all of the quarterly reports, handles accounts payable, accounts receivable, and is our IT liaison with Norts on our IT. We're proposing to change that from a pay range D to F. And the most substantial one, communication officers. Dispatchers play a critical role in managing our emergency incident communications. Sometimes it can be a life safety issue if you don't have the appropriate people dispatching police and fire. We have 7 positions. We've only been able to fill 2 of those in the last 12 months. We have done a recruitment video. We've started with a $1,000 signing bonus. We went to a $4,000 signing bonus. And we're just not able to fill it. So we're proposing to take those positions from range A to range D. And that would be a starting pay of $19 with a max of $24. I put on there, I'm not proposing that every position we have be consistent with the city of Edmond, but you can see their dispatchers start at $20.86 and go up to 31. This kind of skews our pay scale a little bit, but I think it's necessary in order to try to retain dispatchers because they are critical to our first responders, and we just haven't been able to do it with what we're paying. I'd be glad to entertain questions.
Any questions of Leroy?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval from those present then to approve Resolution 2022-22 as presented by the city manager for that pay plan.
Thank you.
That's the last item on our Guthrie Public Works Authority meeting. We are adjourned. And I call to order our city council meeting of July 5th. Second item on the agenda is discussion, oops, I'm sorry.
Oh, shit. What page are we on? I can't find it.
Consent agenda.
There we go. I don't have that page. Second item on the agenda is the consent agenda A and B. A is the approval of the minutes of the June 21st City Council meeting. B is the approval of the agreement between the City of Guthrie and Selectso operations for Highland Hall facility for the Logan County Aging Services.
So moved.
Entertain a motion and a second. Is there a second? I'll second it. We have a motion and a second for the consent agenda items A and B. Submit your votes, please.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval from those council present, then to approve the consent agenda items A and B. Item number 3, confirmation of the Public Works Authority action to approve Resolution 2022-22, adopting the revised non-bargaining pay plan pursuant to Section 700.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval from those present then to approve Resolution 2022-22. Item number 4, discussion and possible action regarding City of Guthrie incentives to assist Lazy E Arena with recruiting new national events. Leroy, Justin, taking this one?
Some quick background. A few weeks ago, Dan and Sammy, who are here tonight from Lazy E, met with Tenny and myself just to kind of share how they're in the process of recruiting some new large events out to Lazy E. And they were discussing with us like what their needs were and what the city could possibly do to assist them in recruiting those large events. Tenny and I took that discussion and met with Leroy, and the result of that meeting was that these kind of things, especially like long-term relationships over the course of up to 10 years, really need to be something that was discussed with council as opposed to just staff. In your packet, there were there's a letter from Mr. Wall that had some specifics in terms of what they thought would be beneficial to assist them in recruiting these events. Leroy, did you want to go over some of your thoughts, or do you want to let Mr. Wall speak first?
I think Mr. Wallen and I might give some ideas of city staff's thoughts or comments relative to the request.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for the opportunity to be here. My name is Dan Wall. I'm Vice President and General Manager of the Lazy E. Many of the faces I've seen or met with you before. Appreciate your time tonight. I will try to be brief, although as you can see, I brought a lot of documentation in case you have questions, and I also brought my right hand, Miss Sammy Miller, who has more knowledge in her head than I do. So if I get stumped, I may look over my shoulder and refer to her. Okay. Currently, the Lazy E plays host to 45 events a year. Okay. With those events, we recruit families, contestants, spectators from all around the country to travel to Guthrie, Logan County, Oklahoma, to spend their time with us. Over the years, the Lazy E's business model has changed substantially. When I took over 9 years ago, we were focused primarily on trying to sell tickets, ticketed events, like produced rodeos. Primarily, those spectators would come locally or from within the state. Our business model has changed substantially. Now we're focused on recruiting contestant-driven events, and we're recruiting nationally for those. Right now, at any given quarter, the Lazy E would be considered one of the top 3 venues in the United States, and we're nestled right here in Guthrie, America. And we compete annually now with our neighbors to the south, Oklahoma City, Fort Worth, Las Vegas, Houston, Kansas City, Lincoln, Nebraska, some of the biggest venues in the country. What separates us? Okay. Pros and cons, we're privately owned. Okay, that is a blessing and a curse. For many of you that survived the COVID deal with us, you know that being privately owned and with the support of Tenny and our Guthrie and Logan County officials, we were able to stay open. We provided a lifeline to the city of Guthrie, Logan County, and Edmond itself, and we did so very safely. It's also a curse in that being privately owned, we do not have a tax base, either local or state, that basically underwrites the operations of the facility. We have to compete with venues that have those incentives built in. We've done so pretty successfully. Now, we're trying to step up. We have a goal, and we have the opportunity, it's actually right on our doorstep, of making the Lazy E, Guthrie, Logan County, Oklahoma, the youth rodeo capital of the world. And what does that mean? How many of you have been out to the Lazy E during the week of the National Little Britches Finals? Okay. You have an understanding for the order of magnitude for what we're talking about. When I came in and sat down, Justin, and I don't know this.
Dan.
Hi, Dan. Dan.
Yeah, Dan.
He was telling me that he tried to go to Walmart last night, and 6,000 of his closest friends from all around the country who are living with us for the next 2 weeks were there with him. If you've gone to Tractor Supply, Oklahoma Home Center, any of the restaurants, I just leaned over to Sammy and said, dang, we should have made a reservation at Gage's because we may not be able to get in tonight. Okay? That's the impact that it has on this area. You understand that. Not to beat you up with numbers because you were given these. These are not numbers presented by the Lazy E. These are numbers qualified by the Edmond Economic Development Authority, one of our partners, just like the city of Guthrie is. They said the National Little Britches Finals last year generated $358,000 in state sales tax, $267,000 in local sales tax, $124,000 in lodging tax. This is Edmond, not Guthrie. Okay, so those numbers would obviously be multiplied. An economic impact of $9.8 million, and for you economists in the room, you know that typically you add a rollover factor, which means every time that dollar gets spent, it rolls over in the economy up to 4 times. So for a total impact on the state of Oklahoma for almost $40 million. In the year of 2020, we brought the National High School Finals here. A little bit bigger event. You remember what that was like and what we jumped through. The numbers for it were substantial. Economic impact of over $13 million. What we are vying, and actually I need to give Guthrie, Logan County some credit. This opportunity would not be on our doorstep if it wasn't for how well these people, how much these people loved the Lazy E. They loved Guthrie, they loved the state, they loved the people, the way they were treated when they were in town. And you know what they said? Before the event was even over, we were hearing it at the Lazy E. Why is our national finals not here? This is the best place we've ever been to. The Lazy E has its advantages, no doubt, being the largest indoor arena. We were able to put them all in air conditioning. 102 degrees outside, the value of that is substantial. but we have our limitations. Okay? Just to state a few, when 2 weeks ago I traveled to Perry, Georgia to visit the National Junior High Finals for a site visit. Okay? There I was able to tour around with their executive director, Mr. James Higginbotham. Any of you remember Leroy? Okay? Fine gentleman. The Lazy E can compete with facilities like Perry, Georgia. What we cannot compete with is the built-in infrastructure that's provided by their cities and the state. Okay? Between the two, they provided all of the security, all of the parking control. They provided the ticket takers and ushers, which were primarily volunteers. They provided, through the local community, they fed their staff, which is roughly 60 people a day, one meal. That's all they asked for, is one meal, a lunch a day. The hotels provided significant complimentary rooms to the event staff so that they don't have to pay for those out of their production budget. Other things like pump outs and things of that nature, are built in. Those are things that the venue has established partnerships with the city and the state. It makes it difficult for us to compete with them. But we're still right there. When I said we have a goal, we have a dream, both the National Junior High Finals and the National High School Finals would love to move to Guthrie, America. Okay? Now, how much do they want to move here? For the history of their associations, they have only done 2-year contracts, meaning they rotate around the country recruiting the next, it's like college recruiting right now. The next venue builds something and recruits them, builds something and recruits them. So they're being sought after by the biggest facilities in the country. How much do they want to move here? If we could make it work, they would both sign 10-year agreements. Okay? For those of you that are good with numbers, you understand the value of that for the next 10 years. Now, unfortunately, they're already under contract out till the year 2026, and there's some facilities under contract right now who are not going to meet their build requirements, and they have the opportunity to get out. Okay? So we have the opportunity in 26 to recruit the first one. That's the National Junior High Finals. That's what I'm here to ask for tonight. Okay? There's significant financial investment that we have to make. So just in those numbers that I gave you, from security, from trash, from EMT, ticketing, parking, and what we spend with Logan County on our, we provide security, crossing security there on Forest Hills so families can safely cross and people that live in that area can easily get through the congestion. Right. Just for one event, it's $130,000. When I put the budget together to try to produce all three of them, the National Junior High Finals, the National High School Finals, and the National Little Britches Finals, in conjunction with an event the Lazy E has recently produced ourselves called the World Championship Junior Rodeo. That's 4 national level youth rodeos that will basically put families here the entire month of June and July. Months of June and July. The cost to the Lazy E just for those 5 items is $438,000. So what I'm asking for here tonight, the first step, is to try to take one bite of the apple, and that's to get the junior high finals. What I'd like to see is what can we do in our partnership with Guthrie. We have a great partnership. Leroy's a tremendous supporter. Tenny helped us tremendously when high school finals was here. In fact, Mr. James, who's the executive director, every time I talk to him says, please say hello to Tenny. Because that man jumped through hoops to make that event a tremendous success. Probably things y'all don't even know. Some you may not, should know. Justin, we meet with him monthly to talk about ways that we can move our partnership forward, things that we can do. Huge, huge supporters, but I know there's limitations. You cannot write a, quote, check. I get that. It's pretty easy for Oklahoma City to do that because, and I love Oklahoma City, I produced events there for over 20 years. But when you've got that MAPS money sitting in the bank, you can go out and recruit events by basically giving them seed money. We don't have that here in Guthrie. So what could we do? Between the city, the county, what could be provided to us that would not be cash directly, but that would be basically to us the same as cash, to help us take some of the heartburn of this event moving here off the plate, off the table, and let us focus on having, for the junior high finals, 1,100 families move to Guthrie, Oklahoma for 10 days. That's just the event. They'll be here for 2 weeks, moving in and moving out, which on an average expenditure is over $3,000 a family, $3,300 a family, from the last study by the University of Nebraska, who is currently trying to recruit one of these events. $3,300 average expenditure per family times 1,100. What can we do that makes our partnership better, that allows us to go succeed in recruiting one? And once we get that first one, the next big bite of the apple, the National High School Finals, is almost twice that big. 2,100 kids, 2,100 families embedded in Guthrie. For that one, we will have to have the use of Cottonwood Flats. So we would love to be able, and when we brought them here in 2020, again, Mr. Tenney jumped through hoops. They had a tremendous setup down there. Even though they're 13, 14 minutes away from the Lazy E, they actually loved it. They were able to be right in Guthrie, just like that. Those families have already said, if the moves back here, they would love to be back in Cottonwood Flats because it was a great experience for them. Their families loved it. Okay? So what would it mean to Guthrie if we could put 300 families, and maybe more if Tenney gets some of the additional infrastructure down there, embedded in Guthrie, living here for 14 days? Right? I'm gonna throw a skunk on the table. Okay? You don't compete with the city of Edmond, you're complementary. Justin, Leroy, Jennifer with Visit Edmond work well together. But the hotels in Edmond do a better job of making our events feel welcome and recruiting their host hotels there. Currently, we have one hotel in Guthrie, and that's the Hampton, who wants to work with us for any incentives at all for these families to stay in Guthrie. Where Edmond has Hilton Garden Inn and all of the 4 properties that Amy Jordan manages, there's about a half a dozen different hotels that all support us. I can't get any support from the other venues here in Guthrie. Just the Hampton. I'm going to say that again, just the Hampton. So what can we do to enhance our partnership that would put us in line to go recruit these events? I don't necessarily have the answer because I don't know what's viable on your part. I'm just telling you that we have one opportunity because they want to move and find a home, and they want it to be in the central part of the United States, which does give us an advantage because it is going to preclude some of the ones that they're at now. Wyoming has a wonderful facility. Perry, Georgia, wonderful facility, but they're remote. We're going to end up competing probably against Lincoln, Nebraska, Kansas City, and hopefully Oklahoma City does not decide to get into the mix. That would be a tough one to compete against. Right? So I'm here for just ideas. It's literally a once in a lifetime opportunity because once they sign a 10-year contract and they get, quote, comfortable with that venue and that location, more than likely it will never come up again. Just like the National Little Britches Finals right now. They found a home. They love it here. But we do nothing to make them feel welcome. Maybe take a step back. We don't do a lot of things that would make them feel more appreciated, like the complimentary rooms, like providing meal service, right, for their staff. You know, they produce over 10 hours a day by volunteers. Kids whose parents whose kids are actually competing there, their parents produce the rodeo so that they can afford to do it. They try to keep costs down for those kids. So those parents are producing the rodeo while their kids are competing. And we can't provide them with a complimentary meal or a room to stay in. We do everything we can through Justin and Jennifer to try to work through the businesses here to promote and say thank you just by putting on the marquees, you know, welcome National Low Bridges Finals, something, just to make them feel appreciated. We could do a whole lot more. And I say we, I'm not blaming Guthrie, I'm saying we, us, could do a whole lot more. And it would put us in a much more competitive position. So I know I've talked a lot. Sammy's probably given me the hook. If you need data, we have it. And it's not numbers that we created. We've got 2 studies from the Lincoln, Nebraska, and then the one produced for Des Moines, Iowa, produced by Dr. Grotta. He's out of Texas, TCU. An independent firm, research firm, created these numbers for what they are. So I'm going to leave you with this, and if you have questions, I'm more than welcome to stand here and talk. I love to talk, okay? I'm going to leave you with this. If we could bring those 2 events to the Lazy E and combine with the National Little Britches Finals, which is, just so you know, is battling with the National High School Finals to be the largest youth, quote, junior rodeo in the country. Since it moved here, it's doubled, which was part of our pitch to bring it, to recruit them here, move to the central part of the U.S., a family-friendly park-like atmosphere. Your numbers will explode, and they have. They're actually having to increase their qualification requirements to keep the numbers down, and because we just can't manage them. We're rodeoing for 13 performances, 10 hours a day, over 10 hours a day. We just can't. Apologize. That's my maintenance supervisor. Probably means something has crashed. But I'm going to leave you with this. Just those 2 events alone, or those 3 events, for 10 years, how about 80? No, I'm sorry. That is absolutely wrong. My math. Over $200 million. Who sees that? We don't. We barely produce, when we produce these events, our goal is to break even. The gentleman that owns the Lazy E is a multimillionaire. Everybody, if you know that, okay? Takes a lot of money to own the Lazy E if you didn't know that. His speech to me annually is, I do not need you to make me rich. Just don't cost me my fortune by me having a dream. And his dream is he wants to provide a facility which gives the future of rodeo and Western sport an opportunity that they can't get anyplace else. His goal is for this to be perpetuating. And as long as we can do that, the Lazy E will stay open. Okay? I don't want to even think about it because it's my passion, it's Sammy's passion, it's our livelihood, it's over 125 families who work for us livelihood. But when we can't be competitive anymore and we can't function where we can break even, what's going to happen to the Lazy E? Since 1984, we've been a crown jewel. I know we had some years in there where it kind of got a little rusty, but we've put the shine back on that jewel. Okay? And we have the ability to put more on it. But what would happen if he decides to break that up into parcels and just sell it for real estate? What would happen to Logan County, Guthrie, Edmond? I shudder to think. Okay? So I'm going to stop talking. Questions?
Well, thank you for that information. Open it up. Anybody on the council have questions to Mr. Wall?
No, but I would encourage anybody that hasn't been out there in the last week to drop by and see this mass of people.
Amazing. No,
I couldn't believe it. There must be 300 golf carts along lined up there and tents.
Almost 700?
It just blows my mind. I'm just going, what the, yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing. To see.
Almost 700. Yes, sir.
You just drive up and down the interstate. I go to work at the Capitol when I'm coming home. You can see trailers heading that way. And I know where they're all heading to, so, and I applaud you guys for that. I think we got to do something. We got to help somehow or another.
I would add one more thing. If you've been in Walmart, if you've been in any of the restaurants, look at the people that we're recruiting. Families, little kids, they all have a smile on their face. Most of them, if you bump into them, would say, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. They're God-fearing, good people. And they love coming to your city, to our county, to our state. That's a pretty good partnership to try to promulgate. But thank you for the comments. Any?
Clearly is. So you're asking, your list here in your letter asks for a waiver of any kind of fees associated with Cottonwood Flats RV Park.
Yes, sir.
Assuming we've got electricity and water. We have anything else there, Tenny, that we provide?
Main two utilities.
Trash and sewer
Utility
trash.
pump, But most of them pump.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The time and labor for them to hook up and go to a dump station is a little burdensome once
So
they
our
get off
revenue
park.
loss there would be what?
I believe Leroy's.
Leroy?
I looked at the waiver of the fees, and a prior event that we did was a 7-day event, and they had roughly 173 campers on average. At $20, we generated $24,600. Our out-of-pocket expense for that event was $2,500 for electric, which is about $2 a camp night. Water, we don't meter, so we really don't know what the water cost is. And then the other is just our in-kind labor from Public Works. We have to recognize that it does take crews from other projects. But our out-of-pocket is roughly $2. So if you look at 200 RVs and 7 nights, which is the low side of this event, 28,000 would be the benefit if you waived it. And again, that's on the low side. Our cost for the electric would be about $3,000 would be out-of-pocket cash expense, and the rest of it would be in-kind labor from Public Works. And then our water, selling it to ourselves is a lot cheaper than selling it wholesale or retail. So that is a doable thing if you all choose to do it.
And just to reiterate, that's for the National High School Finals. That's the second. We're going after them when 1 and then 2. So the National Junior High Finals is the first one. We're kind of negotiating them simultaneously because they really want to move both here. But for the Junior High Finals, Cottonwood Flats could be on the table, right? Because if they do move here, their numbers will grow substantially. But any of that supporting infrastructure, as in EMTs, security, trash, any organized support for, for community support for ticket takers, meals, even if we could just get local restaurants to say, I'll take a day. Now, let's call it the Stables Day, and they do lunch for, 60 lunches. Doesn't seem like a lot. But the burden for them to have to go and organize that and go get it and do all of that is a headache. I just want to take it off their plate. So any of those things that we could do to just make them feel more welcome would be a huge plus. So for the junior high
Of course,
finals,
we don't control that, obviously.
I understand.
Have you talked to the local restaurants? Does anybody?
Yes, sir.
And?
Doesn't sound very favorable.
So you're not getting a good response?
Well, I think it's very evident when we find out that Hampton Inn is our only hotel.
I know.
Yeah,
That is providing, so that's.
Exactly, that makes me.
But some of
shame,
these-
too.
Shame on us.
Exactly.
Shame on the city of Guthrie.
Anything that we can approve, I'm willing to approve. Obviously, we can't approve anything to do with restaurants or third-party business.
But perhaps.
I don't wanna put it-
getting Behind it will start, maybe it'll get them start moving along. Do
You know, since the Lazy E was built, and I was out there when they were building it, doing erosion control around the pond.
No kidding.
And from the very beginning, there was all this excitement about the Lazy E, and I'm just talking from my memory only. It seemed like Guthrie snubbed their nose at the Lazy E.
They did.
And I think there's been bad blood, just in my opinion and experiences, and that needs to go away. That needs to stop. That is a jewel.
I appreciate that. And we consider Guthrie our home. Okay?
Let's go back to the other list for a minute for the first one that you're trying to recruit,
Yes, sir.
which is trash, EMT, tickets, you know,
Security.
security.
We use Logan County officers.
Yeah.
I
So-
understand y'all don't control Logan County, but that we use a private security firm and Logan County.
So let me break it down. How can we help on security? Let's talk about that one. Can we, or is it already taken care of?
No, sir. We would take any support you're willing to put on the table.
Okay, so we can assist in security on top of
Absolutely.
Logan County.
EMT, I thought we provided EMT support.
You do if we pay for it.
Okay, so
Hold
EMT
on.
support
Wait.
free.
Maybe I could go through all of my list.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
First, clearly, Lazy E is a big asset to the community. And it's amazing when there are events in town and you talk to participants, both the kids and the adults. And the raving reviews for the facility and the community. Anytime you travel, you run into people that have been here and they associate Lazy E with Guthrie. Just Sunday night, I was out of state waiting in line to get seated at a restaurant. And the couple I was standing next to was with a boot company. Been here many, many times and talked about how they love coming to Guthrie. So it's recognized around the country. There's no doubt about it. And these two events are major events. And I know we have to be careful because if we do things to recruit these events, other groups will say, well, do it for me. But I think these two stand out, and be able to get something like this locked in for 10 years is worthwhile pursuing. And just looking at the package, and I may have not read them correctly, but the National Junior High, it said that there was 982 household groups, and they averaged 5.4 per group. So that's just the participants bring over 5,000 people. That's not all the support networking and other things. National High School, almost 6,000. There are more participants, but in that study, I guess because they're older kids, not as many family members come with them. But to have 11,000 participants for 2 weeks or longer in our community is a significant thing. I will remind you, not that it's related to this, but we do have a $10,000 annual marketing agreement out of our motel tax that we do annually with Lazy E. Just want to make you aware of that so you don't think we.
Thank you.
We did, on staff side, already agree to a one-time $10,000 cash donation for this recruitment, but staff can't do anything more than 1 year. And that's why we're here tonight, because city staff can't do multiple year pledges. We can only do 1 year at a time. As I've already talked on the waiving the fee for the campsite, that $20 fee, if you're looking at roughly 200 RVs for a week, we would be out about $3,000 out of pocket. The rest of it's in kind. we do a lot of in-kind work to get grants. I think the dividends would well pay for our effort, so that's doable, waiving the camping fee. And I would like for us to do it for both events so that he doesn't have to come back when he tries to recruit the high school rodeo. It's already known that we will waive those fees.
I appreciate you saying that. We've already started renegotiating with the National Low Bridges Finals for a contract extension with them as well. When that comes, it's got 3 more years, but we know they're going to be heavily sought after because they're rivaling the high school now for the biggest one in the country. So if we were to pull the high school, those venues that lost out on it are going to come right after and try to steal the Little Britches Finals. We're trying to make this, we've already got our event that's here. We own it. It's not going anywhere. We're trying to bring all of those here and make it for a 60-day window. Is there any way we can do some of this also to include NLBRA so that we can begin to incentivize them to want, well, I don't want to give them even the thought of saying, hey, you know, let's go look at some of these other venues. So if we could add them into that, if there's a way to do that, that would be
You don't wanna lose
hugely
that.
beneficial.
Because if you can get all 3 of those together, that's quite a deal.
There would not be a venue in the country, and I'm talking about any venue, that would have a 60-day run like that.
I'd like to make a motion, Steve, if I can, that we go ahead and
Well, we
and
don't even
authorize.
ready for a motion.
Hold on,
We are still discussing.
Leroy's got more
We still got more
going
to
here.
talk about.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm ready for you to give me something.
Well, I don't have an issue with the Little
Leroy got
Britches
cut off
deal.
on either.
So the other request was the Fairgrounds Arena rodeo for housing additional livestock. That's doable starting in 2026. Right now, because of some financing on a deal, Logan County Economic Development has the leasehold agreement on that through August 31st of 2025. So we don't control that until after August of 2025. But currently it's subleased to Marty and Sandy Musel. But after August 31st, 2025, that is a doable deal. And if we lease it, once we gain control of it to others, we would just need to make sure we included those weeks in that lease that would be available to, so I see that as doable. The pump out for the RVs for waste removal, we're not set up to do that. And we really don't want to get into that business. So I don't see that one as doable. The trash disposal, whatever we do, there's going to be a cash outlay because we have to contract that through Waste Connection. It's not something we can just eat the cost of. We would be
Understand.
out of pocket. Provide additional support via EMS and security. From the security standpoint, I don't think our police department has the personnel to add to, so hopefully maybe the county can provide assistance there. On the ambulance, we charge $125 an hour for a 7-day event that has 2 5-hour sessions a day at $125. That's about $9,000 per event. We man that with off-duty EMTs, so that's a cash outlay for us. If we waive that, we're not using people on staff. So my thoughts are on the pump trucks, the trash, EMS, and security. If we give those, we're basically going to be out pocket stuff. It would be simpler just to give a cash donation instead of giving those.
Oh, you're a man after my own heart.
So I think it's very doable to waive the camping fees. I think it's very doable after in 26 to provide the fairgrounds for housing additional livestock each year. And then whatever cash we want to add to it, if we look at that, I mean, we just presented the budget that the department asked for, so you know that we're not a wealthy community by any means, but if we could carry on the 10,000, basically we were doing 5,000 for each event. If we could do that every year and put 5,000 cash plus those others for 10 years towards both events, I don't know if that helps any or not, but.
Every little bit helps, and I look at this as a but-for, quote, proposition. Right? But for your support, we don't have a chance of getting this, because they're going to go somewhere, even though they want to come here, they're going to go somewhere where these, quote, heartaches are addressed, and because it makes them just feel appreciated. Simple as that. I mean, everybody every now and then just needs a little pat on the back and say, you know, sure do appreciate you. Thank you for coming here, something. So I've already tried this.
Just to reinforce here, what's Edmund given? I know they got some in kind.
Edmund's they give money to each one. Right now, they're the next group we're going to talk to after you.
Okay.
But Mr. Wall, the customer, your participants,
yes, sir.
The things that they're looking at here are the RV park, if you will, and then if they've got stock that needs to be cared for, that's the arena. That's kind of up in the air.
Yes, sir.
They don't know about the money. That's you, right?
No, sir. The 10,000 that Leroy put up goes directly to the event. That doesn't come to us.
So you put that back in the event in terms of?
Absolutely.
In terms of what? The prizes,
just financial support.
Okay. But that
lunches, rooms, that kind of stuff.
Right now, again, to be transparent, I mean, we're recorded here, but I don't know if any of the other venues are watching this. Okay. Right now, my budget has a shortfall for what I need to, quote, give them of $150,000 to recruit them here. And we're talking about a multi-million-dollar budget. I'm not far off. But if and I realize Guthrie doesn't have just deep coffers just to reach in and throw money at them. I'm not asking you for that. I wish we had a little bit of a tax base that we could create that would drive some of this, because it would be their own money. It's not your money. It'd be the people coming here and staying in the hotels, spending their money in the restaurants, a little bit of a tax base where we could, quote, funnel some of that back to the event in a above-ground way. We don't have that right now. Maybe that could be put in place by 2026. But if we don't do something to get aggressive, right, we will lose them. Because I can't make up that difference. I physically can't. I don't have it.
The problem on the tax deal is we're already at 9%, and that's already going out quite a ways. That's an issue.
Yes, sir.
So we have to figure something else out.
But our sales tax revenue should go up as a result of these two events.
So that, again, in cash is a different deal.
So my thoughts are waive the fees, the camp fees, provide the rodeo arena at the fairgrounds, and then whatever cash amount you want to give annually for both events would be the way I would start.
So why can't we do in-kind with EMT?
Well, we can.
Instead of having off-duty.
That's cash if we do that, so we might as well just give cash to the deal, because the majority of the roughly $9,000 that we charge for DMT is to reimburse, because we use off-duty EMT personnel. We don't have enough staff to do it with on-duty people, so we have to pay them to be out there. So if we waive that fee, it's the same as a cash donation, because we got to turn around and pay those EMTs. Either way you do it, it's cash.
Okay, so what I'm hearing, Leroy, you're recommending is that we, number one, waive the fee at the flats, that we work with Logan County Economic Development Council in the short run to availability of the fairgrounds, and then in 2026, when we take back full possession, then it will be just between us and Lazy E. And then a cash donation per event. I thought I heard you say 5,000. But that we would not be able to work quite as well with pump out, trash, and the EMS and security.
It's 5,000 per event.
Per event. That's what I said. I thought I said. Anyway, thanks, yeah.
Can I add one more thing? Where did the little lady, young lady, nice lady go who you gave the award to earlier?
She's gone.
Okay.
Amy?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know what I'd love to have? I'd love to have somebody like that who cares as much about what these events do and the people that come here that would take charge in organizing a great community. One of the reasons they want to come here is because they loved you guys. I mean, Guthrie was a tremendous host. If we could get somebody out of the community to just say, you know what, I'm going to take the lead in organizing some patrons that would provide some volunteers. Doesn't have to be out of the city coffers, but provide some volunteers to go to some of these businesses and say, could you do 60 lunches a day? Could you work with us? And we'll recognize you for that day. Could you organize some people just to volunteer to come and do, parking staff? Or ticket takers? Something of that nature. That would be a huge help.
Well,
Hey, and I do need to reiterate, I forgot about something in my proposal. Whatever Guthrie gives to these events, they are in turn, say if it was whatever the number is, they will in turn recognize Guthrie as a sponsor of the event with amenities at the event, pre, post, everything. So right now, Guthrie has no recognition at the Little Britches Finals. You're not a sponsor. Okay. But if you were to give X amount of, same thing I'm going to tell Edmund. If your businesses, if we want to try to track them to Guthrie, they will actively market Guthrie. If it's a $10,000 or $20,000 or $30,000, they're not just saying thank you for giving it to us. They're going to turn around and say we're going to recognize you with a sponsorship package where you get marketing assets, try to drive people to your businesses.
Well, I'm pretty sure we've donated to Little Britches in the past.
Oh, absolutely. we
Yeah,
have.
because I was part of that, making that decision.
Yeah.
So-
Well, thank you if you did.
Yeah, that we did.
Justin could probably speak to that better, but yes, we have. And I've been out there for events, and I know Guthrie gets mentioned on the PA
That's
during times.
yeah, that's us.
That's from you. You're talking
Yes,
about
sir.
from the Little Britches, or from the high
Right.
school national, or
For
junior high
your
national.
support that you give the Lazy E, we give you a sign, permanent sign in the building, and we also recognize you as a sponsor of the events that we own and produce.
That's what we get for the money that CVB, I think,
Right.
Brian.
Yes,
But, being recognized they usually put out a book ahead of the event, or some kind of a flyer or whatever, being recognized in that. Is that what you're talking about, Dan?
A tremendous amount. Commercial spots, signage in the building on the arena wall, things that they put in. Every contestant, when they check in, gets a, quote, check-in packet. And, the packet in Perry, Georgia had all kinds of little discounts to the restaurants locally to try to attract them there, just little thank yous, things. If Guthrie was to contribute, you would be recognized in that as well.
And I'm sure you're well aware that we do have a group of volunteers that come out and assist, whether it's handing out water, whether it's in processing people as they're coming in and out. We have a booth out there. So Verla Raines is the champion for that, and orchestrates that. But you're talking about another champion with maybe a focus on food and hotels.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Because I've asked, and it hasn't resonated.
Okay.
So maybe if somebody that has a vested interest in the community were to take down that task, it would be better served.
Okay. All right, so
So, on the punch list, forgetting the Cottonwood Flats, because we're already going to do that.
Thank you.
I'm talking about what is the top priority on that punch list? Is it EMT? Is it lunches? What is it?
Yes.
I know that is, but there's
Well-
got to be a priority on one of them.
Actually, that would be hard to say, because right now, they're currently, those events pay for EMTs, and they, quote, kind of swallowed that. So if we were to able to put together more like of a concierge service, something, that provided the lunches, I think that would go a long way towards that appreciation factor.
Because you're talking 60 lunches
I mean, is it just 60 lunches a day? Is that
for 10 days.
60?
Yes, sir,
That's
for
$6
for each event. Yes, sir.
Right. 6,000 a
And
event
it-
for lunches, without restaurant support. So I think it would be up to economic development and staff to start pounding the restaurant doors and getting out there and say, hey, you know, if you guys want to participate even further in this, you're going to have to step up. I'm willing as a city to step up and help fund some of that bill. But they're going to have to step up and discount it tremendously. And I think that's what we should look at. We should look at the city funding it, but as long as we can get them to deeply discount, 60% discount, 70% discount, $3 hamburger lunch. Just saying, that's the kind of thing we're going to need to go out there and do to every restaurant. I'll bet you Senior Lopez would step up. I guess, you could even have maybe you do a barbecue out there, Chris. Seriously.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, Brian, 60 meals isn't a whole heck of a lot of money. I mean, a
$6 grand.
business could, Jameson Realty Group could sponsor lunch today and take a damn food truck out there and let them serve it until no one's hungry. And
Yeah, that's what I'm
pay
saying.
for the
But
bill.
that's what I'm saying. But we got to organize the people to go to those businesses and get them to step up.
Well, there's a good idea, food trucks.
Food trucks are great ideas.
All right, we're getting a little bit into the
But you're
weeds
right,
here.
James. It's nothing. I mean,
But-
it's $600.
Yes, there are. Okay, so.
At $10.
To summarize again, what I'm hearing is that the motion would be that we would waive the fees at the flats, that we would work with the Logan County Economic Development Council in the immediate few years as far as the fairgrounds was concerned, and then after 2026, that we would, when we take back total control of it, we would work with you for use of the overflow of stock, if you will, to the fairgrounds, that we would develop a cadre of citizens that would facilitate food support and hotel support to the event staff and personnel, that we would not be able to work on the pump out, nor the trash, nor the EMS, but we would be able to provide a cash donation starting at $5,000 event.
I would like to talk about the EMS a little bit more. That's what I was going to discuss a little further. Because let's say, for example, if today an event was going on and our EMS has no calls, can't they be stationed there?
No, because they have to be there during a rodeo event. They can't leave if they get
Well, I'm not
called.
talking about all of them leaving. I mean, can't we somehow figure a rotation to where we give EMS? I
Right
still think we
now,
can.
the number of calls we don't have staffing on our scheduled staffing to station at the Lazy E at an event they can't leave and still maintain our service. That's why we use off-duty EMTs to do that. And if you want, it's the equate, say it's $10,000, if we waive that, we're just go turn
Oh, I
around and write a
understand.
check to those guys.
But a lot of that is because
It's
we,
easier if we just say, we give Dan $10,000 cash every year for each event, 20,000 total for both events, and he uses it however he wants, either to pay for
We
the
will spend it
ambulance
in
or-
Guthrie. We will
Yeah.
spend it with your personnel. I mean, we're not going to turn around and take it and go someplace else with it. If you give us money to offset EMT or security, the reason why we use Logan County is we were told we had to on the highway. for Forest Hills right there. But security on the grounds, if we also provide 24-hour security on the grounds as well. If that was in turn a cash donation, we'd just turn around and spend it with
Whoever. ABDC.
Guthrie. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So basically, you're providing the ambulance service by just giving them $10,000. If he wants to use it to sweeten the pot, he can. If he wants to use it to pay for the ambulance, he can do it that way.
I'm just trying to find out if that's enough. That's all. I know it's not. It's never
It's
enough.
not enough.
What are you going to ask Edmund for?
It's a start. Everything.
Everything, exactly, same thing.
Why wouldn't they?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm hoping.
But I mean, I think it's our responsibility to offer everything that we can.
Exactly, I do
I mean, I
too.
think at this point, if you look at the list, unfortunately, we can give one and we can give two beginning in 2026. And then we can give some cash. That's pretty much what we can commit to
Yeah.
right now, to
Yeah.
make a motion. And then we need to work on trying to see what else we can do to sweeten the pot before 2026.
I agree.
Well before 2026, we need to.
Yeah, you just said something that we need to work. I love the philosophy of we, because we want to have skin in this game too. Sammy's title is Senior Director of Business Development. I brought her in to help lead this charge, to help make us, junior/youth rodeo capital of the world. Okay? She's former director of the PRCA Hall of Fame, and she knows this industry well. We'll devote the resources to work with anybody that would step forward to help us, to quote, just keep carrying the load. Every little bit helps. But right now, they're on the verge of just trying to make a decision for the first one. And I have to put my best face forward. And like I said, I'm $150,000 short from getting there.
All right, so what's our motion?
Why can't we just authorize
We
city
can-
staff to do what they need to do? That could be our motion.
Okay, the motion that.
It's basically what James just said.
How about, I'll make a motion that we
Do it.
authorize the use of the Cottonwood Flats for an RV camp at no cost to them. We also authorize the use of the Roundup Arena at no cost to them after our current contract is up with the Logan County whomever, so beginning in 2026. And we authorize the $10,000 for the event.
5,000 per event,
Well, if you're offset.
10,000.
It'd be 10,000 per event.
10,000.
Would offset the
But that's on the two events.
If you go offset the ambulance, it's roughly 9,000 events. So if you did 10,000 annually per event, that would pay the ambulance for both events.
I know you're looking
So
at the
I need-
third and fourth event too. I already see you
10,000.
getting ready to say it.
10,000 per event.
Then I think we,
Then I'm gonna make a motion for 10,000 per event. instead of 5.
But there's two other events that are in question here. On top
But
of
I don't think that was our
Eventually.
agenda item.
I would kind of amended my agenda item to include NLBRA. I'm not asking you to provide the same support for the event that we own. I'm willing, to do that myself, or we are. Okay? We're trying to sweeten the pot to keep these three monsters, or to keep the one monster we have and go get two more.
So that's what I'm saying, it's three
Provide
events
a
at
boom.
10,000
It
an
would be three,
event,
yes, sir.
is what it is.
Let's say up to three.
Up to 3.
Up-
Are we still talking about June and July, even for the NOBRA?
Yes,
So
sir.
James, you got it going right there and add
Yeah,
the,
I'm just
to 3.
Talking about 2
trying
months'
to find
time.
the agenda item.
RV
It wasn't
flats.
Yes, sir.
Because it was 4 originally.
Okay, it just says to assist
Assist,
Lazy.
yeah.
Yeah, so it didn't specify.
I apologize for the
So
confusion on that.
10,000 Yeah, 10,000 per.
So it's
event
30 grand
for
per year.
Up to 3 events.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
Case, you wanna second that?
Sure.
Second it.
I don't even know what you said, to be honest with you.
That's a second, let's go.
Kim, you got it down?
I got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I greatly appreciate your time. I apologize that my request wasn't more focused and more structured. I honestly did not know what direction you would want to go, and I was kind of leaving it open to take whatever you might throw our way. But I wish the patrons that are at the Lazy E right now and the people that are trying to come here could see the effort and on your faces, the interest that you have, the appreciation that you have for the event, those types of things would go a long way. So by what you just voted on, digitally, that will transfer to them. It will mean a lot. And from all of us at the Lazy E, I thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, we value the partnership too, and we want to see that partnership continue to go. We have a motion on the floor, we have a second.
We voted, Steve. Everybody's pushed the button.
I got him out of order there. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Let's see the votes then. Okay, unanimous from all those council present then to approve the motion, provide in-kind as well as financial support, as well as identification of champion to continue the partnership and the relationship that the city has with Lazy E, to bring these 2 additional rodeos here on a 10-year contract.
And to keep the little britches.
And keep Little Britches.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
That means a lot. We appreciate your time tonight, and I'll be back as progress hopefully happens.
Do you have particular sponsorship packets for each event? Do you have those?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We do.
Okay.
What,
Could I get a copy? Just whenever.
Well, I
you
think
hand
the city hall needs to have it too, so that they can give them out.
Okay.
one thing I would also point out, we appreciate Lazy E being a member of the Chamber of Commerce. And we're trying to do Team Guthrie and get everybody work together. And I think that will add to some of the other things that when you request to have the support of the chamber, when you talk to restaurants and those kind of things.
So on that
I can
note,
phone Bob.
you come to the Wednesday morning coffees for the chamber? You probably should.
I think, yes, I think that
Because that's where
Sammy
you're gonna see a
should.
lot of
Yes, sir.
Sammy should, somebody should, because that's where you're gonna see a lot of these people.
No, you're absolutely correct. We should.
I think actually at times you have had some representation there, Dan, and as a matter of fact, you hosted.
Yes, sir, we
A
did.
joint council, or chamber, Guthrie and Edmond out at the magnificent facility. So, thank you. But we always look to see your face.
We will make a
Yeah.
better effort at doing that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Wall.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're going down the road for supper.
Okay,
Go.
very good. Item number 5, discussion and possible action on Resolution 2022-20 and Resolution 2022-21 to authorize submission of 2022 Discovery Trail Project Grant pre-proposals to the TSET. Who's handling that? Justin, are you handling that? Leroy? Okay.
Project A, I handed out a diagram that shows the project and the budget, and then Project B as well. On Project A, it's starting on Oklahoma Avenue to Fifth Street, and then Fifth Street to Warner, Warner to Banner Park, and a leg on the south side of Noble to approximately 9th Street, where we would construct a pedestrian bridge to tie into future trail system and Noble Park in the Elbow area. Project B, the second one that you have, would continue the sidewalk addition on Walnut, picking up where we left off from the last Safe Routes to School grant and continuing south to Oklahoma Avenue, providing a safe path for school kids to walk to and from school, cross-country track students, an area to run instead of in the roadway, as well as constructing a leg along Warner to connect to the existing trails in Highland Park. These may look familiar. We did apply for Built Environment Grant application back in March. For some reason, at that time, TSET misinterpreted our smoke-free ordinance and said that it was not compliant. We challenged that and provided evidence that, one, they helped us write the ordinance. Number two, it mirrored the state statute. We had a conference call with them, and they agreed with us finally that it was an error on their part, that our ordinance was in compliance. However, at that point, they had awarded all the money under the Built Environment Grant. So now we are basically applying for the same two projects again under this project, the Discovery Grant timeline. And not that it officially will get us anything, but I bet staff will remind them that we already got, I'm trying to think of the correct public word to use, on the last grant by the misinterpretation. We will remind them of that. The pre-proposal goes in on July 8th this week. The full proposal, if they like the pre-proposal, they will ask us to put in a full application. That'll go in September. We should know if we're awarded these two grants by November. On the first one, it actually might be better for us because the amount of match we have to provide is less. On the one that goes over to Noble Park, total project cost is $918,000. We're asking for $718,000 grant, $200,000 match, and that's 22%, which requirement is we provide a 20% match, and that is all in-kind labor, no cash match. On the project B, that budget is $597,913.50. Our match is 125 or 21%. 32,500 of that would be labor, in-kind labor, and 92,500 would be cash match. I'd be glad to entertain questions.
Any questions?
Is the East Guthrie Sidewalk Connectivity Project, is that like a phase 2? Or is that all in phase 1 with the elbow phase? So sidewalk connectivity and the elbow trail. I'm trying to figure out, is it all one or is it two projects?
On the west side, it would start at Fifth Street, and then at Fifth Street, it would go up to Warner, and go Warner to Banner Park, and then come back to the highway. And then on the south side of Noble, or the highway, it would meander over to 9th Street and would include the bridge to get across the elbow, the scar there. And then the future in blue would be a future project that will apply for other grants down in the elbow itself.
So there are two deals.
Yeah, one at the elbow and one at Highland. Is that what your question was?
Well, the one on the west side includes a future grant application to actually do the trails down the elbow. We would stop at putting the bridge in.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion, questions of Leroy? Submit your votes, please.
I'll vote for it.
See the votes. Unanimous approval for all those present to move forward with the TSET grant proposal applications, the two TSET grant proposal applications. Item number 6, City Manager Report.
I have no additional comments.
Okay. Item number 7, comments from members of City Council. Vice Mayor Case.
James got a great job on the party this last weekend, the red brick nights and the fireworks, which is awesome. That's really all I've got.
Okay, Councilman Bothroyd.
I thought tonight was a good meeting. I think that we need to do everything we can do to step up with the Lazy E, because that's what we all know here is the Lazy E. It's just like when we did that in the mineral wells thing that Channel and put on with the barbecue and stuff. I don't know why something like that can't be done over there during that time frame and feed them at the same time while ticketing other people to come in. So there's a lot of different ideas out there, and I think staff does a great job, but I think everybody needs to get with these restaurants. I'm going to question them when I see them, but and if they're not donating, they should be. It's my opinion.
Okay.
I'm a little disappointed in the motels.
The motel,
What
too.
motel is working with them?
Councilman Long.
Yep, Red Brick Nights was a great success. I appreciate everybody's help that makes that happen, and especially Calvin Hoover and the Fireworks of Poppin' for giving us a fantastic show. People look forward to that, and I appreciate him having a passion for that and making that happen for us. And I too am, we have a lot of businesses that continuously like to complain that not enough is being done for them, but yet if they're not stepping up and supporting events in our community, I don't know what they expect. How else do you get the sales tax dollars? So it's pretty sad that we've got 4 or 5 hotels on the highway and we have one that wants to do something. That's pretty freaking sad.
Well, maybe some of us could go visit.
So anyway, I just think that we want to piss and moan that people don't come to Guthrie. Well, if you're not making a reason for people to come to Guthrie, then you don't have a reason to complain.
Okay. Councilman Taylor.
Thank you, staff. Boy, that was great, everything that you put together tonight, whether it was a Lazy or whether it's the having the area where you can walk down into all over the city if you want to, places for the kids to run. You can come out to My Edition if you want to run out there as well, but there's just things like that that's great. I think that's something that's, I'm glad to see it kind of moving forward now, so thanks, guys.
Councilman Williams.
Well, in this Lazy situation, just by providing those parking spaces in the flat, and making this commitment we've made is handing customers to the city of Guthrie. We're making a donation, we're making an investment into them just by doing that. It's our part of the council and the city saying, hey, we're going to give you these multitude of customers for this time period. They're going to shop, so let's figure out ways to give back.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a good point, real good point.
Anything else? Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, just to finalize comments, again, Red Brick Nights and Mr. Hoover, just superb, best celebration that we have over the 4th statewide, I think. So congratulations to everybody that was involved. The city merchants are planning a second Saturday stroll coming up, I think, this Saturday, the 9th. There'll be entertainment. I think there's going to be there'll be sidewalk sales going on all over this. The stores are open, I think, till 7 o'clock or something like that. Extended hours, face painting for kids, lots of things going on. So come down and see your downtown community in action. It's another activity to bring people in to the community. So be there, be part of making it happen. Also, the Kids Fishing Derby is also on the 9th out at Highland. And I think that's sponsored by the Wildlife Department, is it?
Yes, sir.
So they've got not only instruction, but also a contest going on. I think that's at about, what time is that, 7 o'clock, something like that?
Crack of dawn.
Okay, okay, all right.
That's cool.
Till about 11, so bring your kiddos, be a fun event. And Shalon just handed me, before the council started, that the aviation program for kids 9 to 12 on August 5th from 9 o'clock till 3 o'clock at the airport. Kids learn the principles of flying, and there actually will be some airplane rides for the kiddos associated with that. That again is the aviation program on August 5th from 9 to 3.
And that is fun. I sent my 6-year-old granddaughter up one time.
There you
I
go.
couldn't stop looking down, Grandpa. I was terrified.
It's a fun and educational thing, so be a part of that. Be a part of that. Okay, any other comments by council?
That's it.
All right. Item number 8, consider approval to convene into executive session pursuant to authority Title 25. Have a motion and a second.
We'll go quick,
Submit your
Chris.
votes.
It'll be fast.
See your votes.
Very fast.
Unanimous from all those present then to move into executive session. We will return, ladies and gentlemen.
her number so you have it?
Yes. if you
I'll
don't
do
mind.
that later on. It'll be under Mickey, you'll see Mickey.
Okay,
That's her
I
husband
will
that passed.
entertain a motion then to return to City
moved.
Chambers.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Please submit your votes.
I did.
All votes are in.
Let's see the votes. Unanimous approval from those present to return from council chambers and continue on with city council meeting. Item number 10, consider action taken regarding the industrial park and development, industrial and economic development park. No action taken at this time. That item number 11 is adjournment. Having no other items on our agenda, we are adjourned. Thank you.